Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1478. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, we will hear from the wonderful Benita. No, that was yesterday. Shelley Schuhart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer. Plus, we will have me talk to you about things, and now I have
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I have this thing about the Facebook I'm very upset about, and that is
Mike's Daily Podcast.
we have this thing called Facebook that doesn't give a dang about us, cause they like to have rushed manipulate us and influence us, and meanwhile Facebook cashes the money and buys of us. They are totally making money off of us. So
Mike's Daily Podcast.
the Senator Burr, is it? He was
Mike's
in the
Daily
hearing the other day
Podcast.
with the Facebook rush.
Yeah!
Doctor lawyers, Facebook lawyers. Okay, yeah. He was saying, hey, look, Facebook spent all this money, or these Russians spent all this money on two different groups. Look who just walked in. To get them, one on both sides of the political spectrum, and they met in Houston at some kind of a big roundabout, protest. And they ended up yelling at each other, and there was all kinds. Well, I don't know if anyone got hurt, but it became a big to-do. And so Senator Burr, he brought this up. Various people have walked in. I must move on.
Mike Matthews is Shelley Schuhart's gift shop supervisor. What are you talking about?
It's called Mike Bashing Social Media Day, because I don't really need it. I got Instagrammed yesterday. I got Instagram storied yesterday because at my work there were a bunch of teenagers that were on the air on the show, and some of them were hanging out in the studio with me, and they're like, hey, can we film you for our Instagram story, and you like mention what we're doing?
And here's today's podcast picture.
And I said, I would love to. So I did, and then I saw myself on Instagram story for the very first time, by the way, because I've never done an Instagram story. And I did not like the way I do not have a face for Instagram. I have a face for radio, and I hate that joke. And every time someone says that joke to me, Mike, you have a face for radio, I want to punch him, because that joke is old. It's older than these socks. These socks, I'm wearing, they are so old. And who else is here? Oh, yes. Hi, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere the Engineer. You haven't told us what the podcast picture is yet. Well, guess what's coming up very soon? It's the time of year. And so there was a bunch of nice houses that were decorated with Christmas lights. And so I decided I would post my first holiday decoration house. I had a bunch of Halloween decoration houses leading up to Halloween, and now I think I will, because I got so many cool Christmas light house pictures, that this is one of them in Livermore. This is out, interesting, beautiful houses built, fairly recent construction, but made to look traditional. And they're all up against this big park in Livermore called Sycamore Park, I think. Is it? No, something like that. But it's out on the farthest south edge of Livermore. And I was walking there with my wonderful dog, Basil the Boxer. And this was a year ago. And I think on New Year's Eve, actually, I took this picture, and because the lights were still up. And there you go. You can see it at mikesdailypodcast.com and see all the past podcast pictures at the website mikesdailypodcast.com and hear all the past shows. I've done 1,478 as of today, 1478. That's what episode it is today, as we broadcast live from Podcastro Valley Mont, and the last place on earth here at Café Anyway, which I must say this with this guy simultaneously. Anyway. So, Senator Burr, you may have the floor.
In a blog published September 6, 2017, Alex Stamis, Facebook's chief security officer, wrote that the company had discovered about 3,000 political ads that were paid for through 470 fake accounts and pages and that likely operated out of Russia. Facebook shut down these accounts on the grounds that they were inauthentic. Had these accounts not violated Facebook's prohibition against fake accounts, would they have been shut down?
Oh, yeah. So all the major digital people, social media people, they were all, it was all their lawyers, as I mentioned earlier, not their doctors, but their lawyers. And so no Mark Zuckerberg showing up. No, they don't want to be involved in this. And that's how much they care about you. They don't give a crap. Social media. If you're on social media all day, and if you're on, and that includes Instagram because that's owned by Facebook, you are freaking giving money to the wrong people. I am against monopolies, and Facebook has a monopoly right now. Oh, but there's Twitter. Oh, but there's who? Oh, but I guess even Trump is leaving Twitter. Well, because what happened was Trump's Twitter account was deactivated for 11 minutes last night by a company employee on the last day of the job, raising serious questions about the security of a tool the president uses to set major policy agendas, aggressively go after his critics, and connect with his core voter base. The company has suspended other high-profile accounts in the past for violating its terms and conditions. It has also faced questions over why it has not previously suspended President Trump's Twitter account for violating its terms of service. A decision it defended by saying that Trump's position means his messages meet a higher standard for newsworthiness. Because he has a lot to say, and because he's really rich.
I'm really rich.
And because he's the president, and he never knew. Oh, he's a showboat.
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander.
He's Trump. Oh, sorry. I decided to hit that bell really hard for no apparent reason. Because this story is going nowhere. No, it is going somewhere. And that is that there has not been a case where an employee has acted alone to take down the account of a well-known person, seemingly on their own. Such an event sparks deep and troubling questions about Twitter's processes for suspending accounts, like they suspended the wonderful Rose McGowan. Rose, the trying to shine the light in the darkness that is Hollywood and all the corruption. And man, you know what? People go, oh my God, I've talked to some stupid old white men that have said things like, well, the casting couch has been around forever. I mean, what do they expect? They expect more, you idiots. They expect the casting couch to be blown up. That was so dramatic. Hi, welcome to the Dramatic Mike's Daily Podcast show. For a few minutes, visitors to Trump's account were simply met with the message, sorry, that page doesn't exist. Which, you know what, for like 11 minutes, can people just not look at Trump's Twitter for like 11 minutes? Can they just walk away for that amount of time? This is, the social network is under scrutiny for the role it played in spreading Russian propaganda. And Dianne Feinstein, I don't have that quote at my ready, but she had that comment about how if Twitter and Facebook don't get their act together, we're going to get their act together. And Google, we will.
Senator Feinstein.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and I know Senator Harris is as well. foreign power with the sophistication and ability to involve themselves in a presidential election and sow conflict and discontent all over this country. We are not going to go away, gentlemen. And this is a very big deal. I went home last night with profound disappointment. I asked specific questions.
Don't cough while she's talking.
I got vague answers. And that just won't do.
How disrespectful are those frickin' lawyers? They're all talking over her. God, what jerks.
You have a huge problem on your hands.
Yeah.
And the United States is going to be the first of the countries to bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
And others are going to follow, I'm sure. Because you bear this responsibility. You've created these platforms. And now they are being misused.
Yeah.
And you have to be the ones to do something.
And you can, you can't, if you see the video, you'll see this, but she's getting really mad because those guys are just being so disrespectful, just talking blah, 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 while she's trying to talk, and it shows such disrespect. It's misogynist. It's horrible. And I hate social media right now. And I think you got the point about that. But, oh, I had a good sound effect for that.
Anyway.
But I can't find it. So, because they're just, oh yeah. They're trying to make a bunch of noise. Like that. Okay. So back to Twitter, Trump, and all that. So Trump actually, he made light of his Twitter account going dark for a few minutes, and he made a...
The Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
Nobody ever told me that politics was going to be so much fun.
Early Friday, Trump tweeted, "My Twitter account was taken down for 11 minutes by a rogue employee. I guess the world must finally be getting out and having an impact." Oh, the word must be getting out and having an impact. He also tweeted that everybody is asking why the Justice Department is not investigating all of the dishonesty going on with Crooked Hillary and the Dems. Somehow that's affiliated with Twitter in Trump's mind. So... anything else, Feinstein?
About it. Or we will.
Yeah, we will take care of this if you guys don't.
And this committee is intelligence. It's different from yesterday. So they're privy to different facts, and they're very potent facts. Let me go back.
Okay, we won't go back with her, but you can see that all that entire video is on Senator Feinstein's YouTube page, which apparently 1.5K people are subscribing to. Now, Senator Burr, see if he had anything else to say.
Twitter accounts are bots. What is Twitter's process for identifying a bot?
Ooh, that's a good question.
We have a lot of data behind sort of the things you see on Twitter.
Blah, 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 blah. The point being that when the politicians are asking these lawyers, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? The lawyers, all they have to say is, oh, we'll talk to people and we'll get back to you. They really aren't responsible, as if the CEO is sitting there. Hey, Mark, you got to change these things. Okay, I will. No, that's not happening. It's these lawyers that are getting paid billions of dollars. They're just paid to say this kind of crap.
That looks at the activity of an account. And remember, there are hundreds of millions of accounts. The activity of account as it relates to other accounts. So as you or I, Senator, tweet, our activity looks pretty normal. As an automated account tweets thousands of times an hour or logs in thousands of times a day, that looks pretty suspicious. So,
you know, bots just need to be outlawed. I hate bots. Freaking bots. These automated computers that are publishing all these things, and then you've got the bots that are going in and liking my podcast when they're not real people. And there's a whole thing about how there used to be trends manipulated by humans on Facebook, actually liking something and clicking into something, and that's what manipulated trends. Then suddenly Facebook in May of last year allowed bots to do that, and partly because of what Stephen Bannon had raved on and on for, saying, Facebook is liberal. You should open this up to more. Well, somehow it opened it up to the bots, and now we've got this whole situation that helped with the Russians manipulating the election. Now, I feel that if we're that stupid a nation that we get all our news from social media, when social media is it's not media, it's social media. It's people talking to people. It's not a news organization where all they do is investigate news, and they have to do it the way with the sources, and you have to verify this and verify that to get your creds, your news, your media creds. You don't have that. It's social media is just me talking to you. So people getting news from that social media, and that's where the fake news is. And well, okay, I guess I'm done. But this from the Daily Beast, which I don't know how, I haven't verified the Daily Beast info, but they say buried deep in Robert Mueller's indictment of Paul Manafort is a new link between Donald Trump's former campaign and Russian organized crime. The indictment, unsealed on Monday, is where this comes from, includes an extensive look at Paul Manafort's Byzantine financial dealings. In particular, it details how he used a company called Lucical Consultants Limited to wire millions of dollars into the U.S. And, okay, we'll get out of the world of politics now and go to what might be on your phone soon. The Samsung Experience 9.0 is now live, bringing a beta version of what's called the Android Oreo. Android calls all their operating systems after things you would like to eat that are delicious dessert foods. The Android Oreo operating system to Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus owners. Testers provide feedback about performance, stability, and instability in return for being first to use the new OS tweaked in Samsung's liking. The program helps Samsung develop experiences across mobile software, apps, and other services before their official release. Users wanting the access must have a Samsung account and meet all specific requirements. And you got to be on Sprint or T-Mobile network and blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then of course Apple's got their big unveiling today, the iPhone 10, the iPhone 8, etc. So big day in the tech world, and a lot of questions to the tech world, to the social media platforms. You guys are on notice. Mike Matthews is mad, and I've been using social media now before a lot of you have. I started, well, yeah, everybody started in the MySpace days, but I was like one of the first people on Facebook. Okay, not one of the college kids that got on Facebook back in the day, but I was also on YouTube before a lot of you. I was on Twitter before a lot of you. I actually had a Twitter account when Twitter first launched because somebody told me about it. My savvy computer friend Jocelyn told me about it. Jocelyn and I used to do a radio show on Wednesdays on the country station that I worked for. Yes, on the country station, because apparently I had a huge audience. I was doing good in the ratings. So the program director said, Mike, how about at night you do a talk show? So every night I would have a different theme. Like one night we had a fortune teller come in and do like psychic readings type crap. And then another night we talked about food. Another night we had comedians on. And on Wednesday, it was the internet. And we called it Worldwide Webs Days. And that was early O's. Just as the internet was really starting to kick into high gear. And the only social media was MySpace. And there was Jocelyn would come on and she told me about Twitter. And I had an account where my username was my radio name at the time, Matt Michaels. But then I closed it because nobody was on Twitter, and I thought, nah, this is stupid. Jocelyn turned me on to a bunch of things that I would sign on to that failed. So that was one of them, I guess, if I had stayed on to. But I am on Twitter at Mike Talks. So I do have a somewhat reasonable username. It isn't my real name, but whatever. That's how it is. The Facebook, Twitter world has changed so much because everyone's on it. What made it just explode was the whole app on the phone thing, because that's what people do when they're bored. They look at their phone, they look on the app, they look at the Facebook app, they look at Instagram now, and they look at Twitter. I did not get onto Instagram, though, till late in the game. As we go outside a Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcast Relay. But as I have said, I have a face for Instagram. Radio, not Instagram. And that's the end of today's highly controversial show. Next show, what we're going to do is be social. It'll be a super secret Sunday show, possibly. Ooh, we'll be social with Katie Garibaldi, possibly talking to a wonderful singer-songwriter that's got some holiday music out, or it's coming out very soon, that she wrote all of it. No covers, it's all self-penned stuff, original material. So thank you for being a Mike's Daily Podcast listener. We've been doing the show. Well, I started podcasting in 2009, so it's been a while, and now here, the end of 1478. Next show, it will be Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. You betcha. Oh, yeah. Let's end with a Sarah Palin quote. Why not?
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!